John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.
Hey guys, welcome. Under Hajj, Infinite Potential Healing, Seven of Truth, with you once more. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. I'm going to do this clip and how I look on Saturday, the 9th of September 2023. I'm just doing this as an add-on because I've actually done more GSF overnight, and it goes on from what we did relative to the Earth Source Reconnect work that myself and another person did on the 5th and 6th of September. So overnight we've done even more, and Earth Boss was in command. She was asking for some help and stuff, so we had to get onto it pretty quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more on at the end. I'm not going to do a big overview of what we did last night, but the work we did overnight was about clearing out her cosmic womb, big time, because what we found out was Saturn was doing a big metaphor of the Ayani on Earth to breed planets that were half Weezadak. So if you've gone through the Galactic Special Forces, part 27, at the end I included a very important segment from Ashiana, which is a big overview of the universes and stuff like that relative to the Phantom Matrix and Weezadak and the reverse matrix of beings and all the different things like that. So this is very relevant to that. Right? So if you watch that, I think it's at about 2 hours 20-minute mark of that video. So it's at the end. I just added it on because it was in one of the other releases, but I didn't think that was available anymore. So you might want to do some homework with that. This main video also follows on from the Earth Pranic Healing 10 and GSF 27 and the 9 before that. So what I'll do is I'll leave you here with what I was planning to release, because I didn't expect to do more overnight because it's been pretty relentless. That's 3 big ones this week, right? Last Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and Friday, Saturday, the 9th overnight. So I'll leave you with what I was planning to release. and then I'll add a little bit more on the end because I didn't want this to be a big release. What I was planning to do is release the main body on the day that I did it that evening, but I thought I'd just hold off, and it was really good that I did, because now I can add this on and have a bit of an overview of all the victories we've had. So I'll leave you with the main body, and then I'll see you at the other side of it, alright, just to add on what we did overnight. Enjoy.
The Armenian genocide was not a mistake. Holodomor was not a mistake. The final solution was not a mistake. The Great Leap Forward was not a mistake. The killing fields were not a mistake. Name your genocide. It was not a mistake. That includes the Great Democide of the 2020s. To imply otherwise is to give them the out they are seeking. It was not botched. It was not bungled. It was not a blunder. It was not incompetence. It was not lack of knowledge. It was not spontaneous mass hysteria. The planning occurred in plain sight. The planning is still occurring in plain sight. The philanthropaths bought the science. The modelers projected the lies. The testers concocted the crisis. The NGOs leased the academics. The scientists fabricated the findings. The mouthpieces spewed the talking points. The organizations declared the emergency. The governments erected the walls. The departments rewrote the rules. The governors quashed the rights. The politicians passed the laws. The bankers installed the control grid. The stooges laundered the money. The DoD placed the orders. The corporations fulfilled the contracts. The regulators approved the solution. The laws shielded the contractors. The agencies ignored the signals. The behemoths consolidated the media. The psychologists crafted the messaging. The propagandists chanted the slogans. The fact chokers smeared the dissidents. The censors silenced the questioners. The jackboots stomped the dissenters. The tyrants summoned, the puppeteers jerked, the puppets danced, the colluders implemented, the doctors ordered, the hospitals administered. The menteciders scripted, the bamboozles bleated, the totalitarianized bullied, the covidians tattled, the parents surrendered, the good citizens believed and forgot. This was calculated, this was formulated, this was focus grouped, this was articulated, this was manufactured, this was falsified, this was coerced, this was inflicted, this was denied. We were terrorized, we were isolated, we were gaslit, we were dehumanized, we were wounded, we were killed. Don't let them get away with it. Don't let them get away with it. Don't let them get away with it.
Plenty of time to talk. Now. Who are you? American. Who are you, sir? Sir. Definitely the South. The Carolinas? Virginia? It's Virginia, isn't it? Lovely place.
You know it?
Not as well as I should. But I will. Increased strength and agility. Simple matter of gravitation and anatomy, one we ought to have foreseen. We? No apparent increase in intelligence. Still, this will not do at all. We can't have Earthmen projecting themselves over here, leaping about, causing all manner of disruption.
You're a Thurn.
Therns are a myth.
Padua, we'll go on foot.
Yes, sir.
My name is Matai Shan, and I do not exist. Indeed, I work very hard at it.
What gives you the right to interfere?
Do you care? This is not your home. You have no obligation to these people. You don't have a dog in this fight. Is that how you had fared in Virginia? Man without a cause.
So what is your cause? We have none. We're not haunted by mortality, as you are. We are eternal.
I don't understand. The wedding, this little straw. Why not just kill me, kill Deja?
History will follow the course we have set, Earthman. And we've chosen Sept to rule next. The ninth ray must remain in the hands of mindless brutes we can control. And the infamy of Deja Thoris's wedding death will seal his reign. We've been playing this game since before the birth of this planet, and will continue to do so long after the death of yours. We don't cause the destruction of a world, Captain Carter. We simply manage it. Feed off it, if you like. But on every host planet, it always plays out exactly the same way. Populations rise, societies divide, wars spread. And all the while, the neglected planet slowly fades.
Estimate how many 540s you've done in your lifetime.
I don't think I could estimate how many 540s I've done. It's just, like over 10,000, for sure. Let's just say, for instance, 300 in a summer.
For 30 years.
400, 500 a year. Yeah, I mean, I was thousands, tens of thousands. When people say you put in your 10,000 hours, I put in my 10,000 McTwists.
And how many times have you done the 900?
He just said, I'm either going to make this trick or someone's going to take me off in a stretcher.
It was almost as if his mind was going, you know, squishing down further and further. You can just see how much intensity it took from him.
This guy was focused. He was not. This is what you look at. Nine. Tony Hawk. 900.
I've never seen Tony explosively emotional like that. Says a lot about that sense of what he found out about himself by making himself do that trick.
It had nothing to do with the physical motions of that trick. It was all here.
It's just a trick. But to me, the ones that make most difference in who I am as a man, as a person, is when you've redlined it so much that you did something that you didn't know if you had it in you to do it. That's a different kind of proving ground. That shifts something within you.
Hey guys, welcome. Andre Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, Seven of Truth with you once more. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And if I am releasing this midweek on September the 6th, my time, so we're a bit ahead of you guys wherever you are in the world, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. I hope this is a nice random surprise, alright? And I've got a good reason for doing it. So, overnight, I've done more GSF work with one of the beings out there that I deal with, and I'm going to have to be a bit more cryptic at the moment, if that's cryptic or the way it is that I've been sharing my perspectives and stuff. I've been deliberately, extremely deliberate in the way I've been operating, especially in the public sense, for the last month or two and stuff. Right, I haven't done a lot of videos of late. I did a big Earth pranic healing on the weekend, which I included a lot of the updates of what happened on August 22nd, 23rd, and I'll link that below if you haven't seen it. The videos that I've done, like the last Earth pranic 9, GSF 27, and that one over the weekend, they're all got components in them relating to each other. So I thought I'd just do this relative to this, what we did overnight, because that Earth pranic healing I released on my Sunday, like the time I usually release it is my Sunday morning, early morning. So that was the 2nd, I believe, of September. But I recorded that right on the crossover of the 31st of August. So it was 3 or 4 days before that. And I fit someone that's pretty epic in on my Saturday. So I had some family stuff to take care of on the Friday, which was big, because I thought the August 22nd stuff that I detailed in the end of that pranic healing, the Earth pranic healing number 10, because I went in and cleared relative to that, okay? I thought that was pretty big, so I was like tooling down. It was like chance to have a break and stuff, right? And so between when I recorded that, which was the late Thursday, midnight sort of thing, Friday morning, and then released it on the Sunday, I fit someone else in. We did more epic stuff over the weekend. Crazy stuff, because one of the big themes I've said is that, and it was really put out there in that Earth pranic healing number 10, is that the scale of the code stealing is just staggering, alright? So most of us are running at 20% of our codes, alright? So it's really interesting what's been happening in sessions, and it's not a forced thing like, I've got agenda, get my codes back, Andre. It's like we just go through people and the experiences and what goes on, because a lot of these people, they don't like, say, you as a client interacting with me, because we're going to freaking take their shit back. And so there's shit that goes on in the sessions, and if we just focus and zoom on someone, it's really interesting, like some battles with the connection of the software and all that sort of stuff, right? So it's like, there's something here. and people are blanked and all this sort of stuff. Like, the blanking has been pretty profound. So what I'm going to do in this is just do a real, I'm not going to aim to do a real detailed long sort of video. I'm just going to do an update in real time. I haven't really got the real best way of doing this, the way I work. I usually try and do big timeless releases of reference points and stuff, but this what we did overnight was so freaking... So what we did overnight was reconnected Earth to Source. Earth to Source. Alright? And if you've been thorough with me over the last, say, 2 years, like embracing the Ashiana historical perspectives and stuff like that, and you've done your own homework on her and stuff, there were numbers related to her stuff where, if you've gone through the Echo series, it was like 208,216 BC, there was a big war that went on where Earth was lowered from 12D connection to Source to 10D, and say, being disconnected from Source. We were disconnected from Source, so there's a vulnerability of not having that backup and support. So, and then there's the Ayani massacre that was 25,000 years ago that was big in Hawaii and stuff. And yeah, in this interaction with someone who I've done stuff with, and I would love to be transparent and stuff. It's just can't be that way at the moment, right? Because we're getting a lot of pushback, and it's like, how the frick are they getting through and all this sort of stuff as my left temple is being hacked right now. So let's talk about it a lot, hey? Alright. So, yeah, this overnight stemmed from massive Ayani trauma, alright? And it's interesting, one of you out there was tuning into that, so thank you. I haven't been able to catch up with you, and I apologize for that. So we'll see what happens, because I haven't been able to put tools down and stuff. It's just really, really interesting. So my purpose of offering this is just a reference of, say, what I've been involved with. I don't consider what I'm involved in is supported anything by the spiritual narrative. And I'm like, good. Like, to me it's all so interesting, and I'll get into it in this, right? But so today it was dealing with Ayani massacre trauma being weaponized and stuff, and it was, say if our codes are stolen, we don't have the technology in us to, like, and when I say codes are stolen, like, you can take a snapshot of someone's DNA codes, but they still have their technology working, like perceptions and stuff. If it's stolen, it's like the ownership of that has a negative on the original Earth incarnated being that she seeded them to, if you get my drift. So if they're taken, then the person is limited, sort of thing. So I would offer to you, if you're here, you've been reduced to 20%. I thought I was like 60% and all this and all these different numbers, but the consistent thing with these very high level beings, and even though you might not think you are and all that, if you get 80% of your codes back, then who knows who you can be. And that's what's been going on with me in these sessions, and it's real wild ride and amazing to have someone that just is normal, and then they've got oracle abilities kick in and seeing everything and being able to defend it with their 12D or above, right? Wonder Woman shields and shit like that, like Spartan tech coming online, multi-dimensional Spartan warrior tech, right? Shields, helmets, all this sort of stuff, pikes. So yeah, this today was like the extreme of diabolical Ayani shit was being projected at this person, and we just like tracked it all back and then just took care of it. But there's also been these very high level beings watching us and stuff since we did the August 22nd stuff. So yeah, that was the obelisks, Vatican, Bank of England, Washington, all the undersea tech and getting the Earth heart going, sort of thing, right? So as I said, in Earth Pranic Healing number 10, that was a good overview because I just want this to be quick. So long story short, we start tracking all this stuff back, realize what's going on. So out of today, overnight, part of the sites that we sort of cleared in that August 22nd stuff, that again I say is detailed in that Earth Pranic Healing number 10, was the Bank of International Settlements. So if you understand what the banking system is, that's like the apex of the whole money system and all that. So long story short, what we found was there was a tether going up into the universe from that, alright? Let's say it's like energy harvest of all the money system stuff going somewhere else, and there was a massive infrastructure related to that, not only here in the galaxy but the universe, and going to other universes, but it's also going to Nibiru. And so we were dealing with Mars, alright, and doing a lot of stuff, and Mars was like, this is pretty delicate. Mars is like Hulk smash. It's like a bull in a china shop. You don't really want to do some fiddly stuff. So then we brought Metatron in, and he's very sophisticated in the way he works, alright? So if you're still going on that with me and that's cool. But the whole idea, as I said in the weekend release, was, okay, the oversoul of Metatron's good, and the underling, we've got to do our work to squeeze all the shit out. So there's a lot of species and subspecies relative to that Metatron hierarchy that are wanting to be good and do good, and they're flipped, and a lot more are flipped. But then there's aspects, because it's been 250 billion years, right? So yeah, the revocation, I'm not going to really change it short term. I don't think there's context for all that in there to put pressure on from our level down. Like when you change multi-dimensional, it percolates through, but we can put pressure from the 3D up sort of thing, because we've got the codes and stuff like that, right? So yeah, so what we did was the Earth heart, we'll just call it the Earth emerald sort of, I don't really want to call it a virus, but just imagine it's a positive virus that flips everything, all the darkness and stuff. Send it all up there to the whole universe of all this infrastructure of frackery that's hooking into all sorts of planets and all sorts of stuff. And that's not my realm of perception, but I'm just offering it for you here with the compressed download file for you guys that can actually perceive all this, to actually get context of tuning into it and seeing it for yourself, right? Because like the multi-dimensional method of 3D madness, it's that's what one of my themes are. So I'm offering this to give you a multi-dimensional reference. See the madness in the 3D that's probably going on, it's all related to this from my perspective, when very few people in the community and all that even comprehend it, let alone accept it. So once we got that done, and there was a lot of other stuff, we had to upgrade a lot of the dragons to a lot higher dimensional level. So they're the apex beings, apex cleanup beings that are the authority in the reality. We had to actually upgrade Mars dimensionally as well. So he's like a checkmate variable, alright? So he's at a different dimensional level. So what happened after we got this done, and there was many other things. I'm pretty raw right now. I did this with someone between my 2:30 and 5 a.m. and didn't get a lot of sleep and stuff. So, and I'm still in the frequency. I'm just seeing what comes up and going with the flow, right? So after we got this done, and that was cleared, and say Nibiru is being flipped, alright? We'll see what happens with that. You guys who have the perceptions, you're welcome to tune into it. But there was a lot of negative stuff still going on with them. I had the perspective way back in GSF 22 to actually encrypt the universe to block them out so they can't do stuff, and that wasn't done, alright? So yeah, we'll keep going, if you get my drift. So there was a falseness related to that. back doors and all that. It was not done. Okay. So once we got that part done, then it was just tuning into Earth and asking what she wanted and finding out what's going on with her. And she's been trapped, right? So I've had this image that I've shared, and I'll just show it now. Alright, so this is like the Earth is trapped with the masculine overlay with the obelisks that we flipped August 22nd. So the magnetic Earth, pure feminine Earth, is coming through. The green infrastructure is her heart, pure sort of stuff. And what I said in Earth Pranic number 10 is that keep your heart encrypted and protected, because from my perspective, when that Earth heart energy bubbles through, that's when we engage our tech in partnership with her, alright? And that's why they've had to instill this overlay and the Akasha Bullshita and all that, okay? Because when we disconnected all that and took over it and flipped it all, from my perspective, the API network, like all the crystal network that was installed, and Asher said it was 25,000 years ago, to contribute to the Ariani massacre, to be where we're at, alright, that was all flipped. So that was all lit up, and it's all resonating at Schumann resonance, like Earth heartbeat energy now. We'll see how that goes. You guys that have perceptions, you can tune into it and see what's going on. I'm just giving you the context of what it was related to, alright? So there's another structure that goes beyond what we did with the obelisks and stuff that has been pulled over to our side, alright? And so after that was done, alright, so Nibiru, sending all the frackery through, the tether, we actually sent the green back to it. So they're dealing with an upgrade, if you will, alright? So all the Phantom Matrix and all that sort of stuff, it's going to be interesting, okay? So getting back onto the Earth source connection, alright? So my perspective of the numbers were the ones I said, like 210,000 years ago, 25,000 years ago and stuff. But what it turns out, it seems like it's been billions of years since Earth has been truly connected to Source, alright? And we're talking big scales, and just take it with a pinch of salt sort of thing. But that's what was revealed in this real-time sort of GSF work. And as I say, I prefer to actually release the real raw discovery in the moment sort of missions, because then you can feel the authenticity of them and stuff. And I've always worked from that premise of being authentic. And yeah, it's interesting, because I had intended to do one, maybe two influencer shows, because I'll talk about what happened to my mechanics, and I see it now and stuff. And relative to all the greedy network, and what I'll get to after I talk about today, I'll talk about what happened over the weekend and what we uncovered and stuff, because it's all contributed and related to it, alright? So then, once we did a lot of this clearing and upgraded Mars and the dragons, and they took care of a lot of shit, and we cleared a lot of stuff, like these entities that are very high level, we just bagged them and chucked them in the sun, you know, and just sent the dragons out to collect them and just go savage on these frackers. So when I say the dragons go to work and stuff, just think multidimensionally, they're going after the soul level of the being. And if the physical aspect of these beings that are anchoring it, they want to flip, they can. If they don't, then who knows what will happen. Maybe they'll get allies and come back at us and stuff like that. It hasn't been like all conclusive kumbaya stuff. It's been chess moves, sort of that, alright? So don't assume that we're going to rescue or bail you out. Some of the stuff I talk about, we've cleared the infrastructure of it, but if you've got it going in you, then you can reanimate it, and it's going in you from their influence and stuff, right? And when I have sort of people book and stuff like that, then I can feel it going on with them, and I've got to be on guard sort of stuff, because it's all trying to get through to me in that. And it's really fascinating multidimensionally what's going on, because with all this stuff, like say I talk about we've only been at 20% code, say if I've got a lot of mine back, I've got a lot of recalibration to go, and I said I was going to do a recalibration show. We'll see. It's just interesting. So with all that, then we worked out that Earth was disconnected from Source still. And it was big. It was like she'd been battling and being very, very enraged about all the shit going on the surface with her trapped in it, right? If you remember that image. From my perspective, Earth has been trapped here. It hasn't been Venus in that. And as I said in the Earth Planet Killing 10, to me, she's the one that delegates us into relationships and stuff, not Venus. That's a whole false overlay. Why do we accept another planet is responsible for our relationship status, alright? Isn't that just, you think about that mechanics. Why are we on a planet and another planet delegates the emotional relationship sort of stuff to us? It's just nonsense, alright? If Earth was not suppressed, then relationship sort of stuff would be different. But the other thing that's gone on to me is that if you're gone into the twin flame sort of stuff, and I said that would be a better saying that stuff in the early Echo series. To me, it's about marrying the feminine and the masculine in us now, and it was really interesting on the weekend because a lot of the masculine sides have been Frankenstein, patchwork sort of shit. So there's all sorts of distortion on that sort of stuff. And it's not this one person that has gone onto it. It's very widespread in my opinion. So that's another influence that I was going to talk about. So there was the crown sort of rewiring and transplant of the crown energetic body sort of thing to distort the perceptions of people, but then there's also this Frankenstein masculine right side that's been going on. So yeah, we reconnected. We were just like working with Earth in this and the Earth Emerald Heart sort of stuff, very high dimensional level, and it was just worked out that she's still disconnected from Source. And we did all this stuff with Metatron and Mars and the elementals and really taking authority of this reality. And with this Nibiru stuff cleared out, it was a real clear time, and we worked out she was still disconnected from Source. So it was like, does she want to be reconnected, right? And it was like, yes. It's like she's been waiting freaking billions of years and shit, potentially, alright? So would you want to reconnect to Source if you've been invaded and hacked and disabled from your connection? And so yeah, we re-established it thanks to Metatron's help. And then she just, you imagine, it was a big relief. And then the metaphor of the other person I was dealing with is, she was translating what was going on, and Earth just lied down on her own body. And then all these life forms flourished and just bloomed like flowers and trees that we just haven't seen or haven't had the chance to bloom and stuff. So what I realized in that was, as beautiful and amazing as all the life is on Earth and stuff, a lot of it isn't actually from her. Possibly a lot of it's from Nibiru and stuff. I remember this show called Defiance a few years ago. It was like, there was this, it's all about these species coming to sort of terraform Earth with all these different plant species on that representation of Earth, and that, if that had gone on. And I'm sitting around nature and just loving it and stuff. That's why I like sitting where I sit and being connected. But can you imagine Source connected Earth life, trees? Like what was blooming around her was all this organic Earth, pure life forms were blooming. So my guess is, the reason why I want to do this reference right now is just to see what happens. It's perhaps we're going to see a lot of different life forms and stuff and all that. So yeah, that was a big victory, and it was like a lot of relief. And Earth Mother herself needs to integrate that and adapt to it and feel the nourishment of Source reconnection after a very, very long time of her literally holding off the invasion of the universe to not to succumb to the invaders and hold the line, and taking a lot of hits for us all to have this potential right now. And so I've had this session and I remember it, and those numbers I said about the 200,000 and 25,000 years ago, one epic being that I know, and it was really cool, like in the session with her, it was like I could feel where we on the earth, and knowing it was a really bad move for us, it was going to suck like shit, alright? But we initiated the disconnect from source because we knew that we weren't able to hold on to earth, and if we're in trouble, then the natural reaction was to allow support to come through. But in order to protect and defend the universe, we had to disconnect from our backup and had to go through all this fucking shit. And it was just like, you know, doing the worst thing at the worst time, but because it was for the right reasons and stuff. And so yeah, it's a bit like I actually am planning to watch the movie Cocoon, if you know that, from '85, Ron Howard's first movie, all about these ETs coming and collecting their brothers that had been stuck on Earth for a long time. So it was a bit like that, alright?
I'm not surprised you're here.
There's something in that pool out there that a friend of ours just has to have. Matter of fact, there's a few of us could use a little of it.
Look, Ben, I know you're just trying to help your people. Well, I'm trying to help mine.
No, see, my friend Joe Finley, he's got cancer. Trying to save his life.
I'm trying to save 20 lives. And I'm running out of time. Every 10 or 11,000 years or so, I make a terrible mistake. The last one was when I picked what you call Atlantis as our base here on Earth. Everyone else said use the North Pole. I said not too cold. Sinking never occurred to me.
You're gonna let us use the pool, aren't you?
You won't touch those cocoons.
No. No, I swear.
Use the pool.
Thank you. Thank you.
I put all kinds of people on this boat. All kinds. All races, come on. All nationalities, all creeds. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Don't start.
It's hard to know who to trust, isn't it, Jack?
Oh my God! Oh God!
Jack, sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
Jack, sit. Now, Jack, I want you to listen to me very carefully. We're Antarians. We come from a planet called Antaria.
Yeah, that's what I pretty much figured.
About 100 centuries ago, we had an outpost here on Earth before the first upheaval.
Well, I think I'm better off not knowing.
Now, we were able to evacuate everyone except for my ground crew.
Ground crew?
And now we've come back for them.
Boy, yeah. You know, I thought I'd been around. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. You know, I got left behind once. It's in Coney Island. I was 9. It was pretty heavy for a 9-year-old. My parents finally came back for me.
Of course.
Yeah.
And now we've come back.
So that's what you're doing? You're coming back for your friends?
Exactly.
Jack, this is the most important thing we've ever done.
You're not gonna hurt me, are you? Well...
All we need to do is to get our friends and leave.
And go...
Yes.
Right. None of this is bad for America, I guess.
Of course not.
Well, damn it, I'm in. This is incredible. Right.
So yeah, I just wanted you guys to have a chance to know this in real time, because I've been trying to find the right ways to impart all this stuff and haven't really found it just yet. So this is a bit of a new one. I guess this will be GSF 28. It's Earth Source Reconnect, right? And I don't want to get into it to a lot of detail. This is already about half an hour. So what I'm going to offer is, I offered I did the recording for Earth Pranic 10 on like a few days before it, and then I did the release on the Sunday, and then on the Saturday I fit someone in that's been through a lot. And again, like I say, the metaphor is we've only got 20% of our codes, and this individual thought they had 60 like me, but not able to perceive that there's that 40 that didn't even have. That left a lot of gap in perceptions of seeing all the frackery going on and stuff. And I won't get into a lot of detail about this, but this individual, they had their rainbow body codes stolen, if you get my drift, so we got all them back. And in this particular session, I haven't interacted with a lot of people, alright? I've shared some of the recordings to people so they've had context and that, but a lot of this hasn't even been shared, okay? So it's really, this particular session with someone was very organic. So I'm giving you the dates of all things because I didn't relay anything. I didn't share the recording and stuff, but in it was just like a jigsaw puzzle of everything that was going on, alright? So this being is badass, like savage, alright, as well. Takes no prisoners, and we've got to be ferocious now, alright? It's no more Mr. Nice walkover guardians, you know. It's like we are the defenders of this realm, sort of thing, and we're owning it, alright? So what was found out in the pranic session of this individual is that the infrastructure related to this code stealing, you imagine all the ancestry.com and all, you know, in the news and stuff, there's information about collecting DNA and all that. So there's something going on with that. But I'm just going to relate them because to me, like, what we cleared out was there was a multi-dimensional mainframe. So a mainframe is like a very, very fast server that's in a data center. It might cost hundreds of millions of dollars. All the banks use them for all their high transactions and stuff like that. So if you need a mainframe, it's a lot of access. It's working very hard, and it contains enormous amounts of data and processing and stuff. So there was this giant mainframe that had the collection of all our codes, alright? So it was picked up with, it was too heavy for this individual, so we got Mars in, and Mars is up for it. Mars is like Hulk smash, and picked it up and chucked it into the sun, alright? So their repository and access to all our codes was just disintegrated on the multi-D, because what we found out, and this individual's had a lot of issues with the Greedy team, and I'll just say it as that, alright? We found out in that mycelium network, in this network, there's all been backdoors of being able to view us all, alright? So these species that we were dealing with, still viewing and hacking us, are all using it and stuff. So with this individual, we destroyed all this network. But the thing is, it can possibly be reanimated, and if you've got it in you, it's not up to us to clear it. I mean, there's the potential on the oversoul level of inviting that to be cleared if you read the revocation and you get that. But many of you might have to clear it on your 3D yourself, alright? So don't fear it. We got context for it now, and we understand all the shit, and it's a violation. So I'll offer this. If you're being violated, it's an asset that you can use against whatever's done to you. The key is to actually, I'm generally very broad. I try not to be very specific, because I leave everything open in the infinite. that we can deal with, but I appreciate that context and focus allows people to get that body visceral reaction and stuff. So I'll offer that if you have been violated, and I'm saying most of us are running at 20% of our codes, so the possibility of violation is high, right? So the reason why I'm offering all this is that have it as a data set of possibility that the same thing's going on with you, and who you are is not who you have the potential to be, right? So we're taking care of a lot of the infrastructure of the frackery to allow that potential for you as an individual to blossom right at this pivotal time of enduring so much shit for so long, right? So we took care of that. They were using it as backdoors to look into us and all that, and they got interchangeable. It's all unionized, if you get my drift. They're all on the same team, okay, doing different roles and stuff. And that's where I said in like my journey that I said, say with Captain Marvel in Planet Killing 10, just when, say, I got her going in her plasma body, it was like game on for me. And I think many of you have also experienced that in your life, as you and your talents are a threat to the invaders and shit, alright? So this is all being used as a backdoor. So this goes to another level, right? So what was going on, and this is one big thing we busted, is there was this, particularly Andrew, but they're all trading it. There's this holographic tech that they've been using. So anytime we've interacted with these people, they've taken a snapshot of us as a file. But it's not just a file. It's like, you imagine a holographic tech, and they've got all our stats, like all our codes, our abilities. So they've had all our codes registered in a database sort of thing of this holographic tech. So this individual could work out that my residual had been taken 10 years ago. So the Dreamtime hacks, all that sort of stuff, all the species and hacking and targeting and all that, they've used this holographic tech of us to do that to us. Alright, so if we go through a blossoming of our, brewing to really break through and penetrate, so I'll show you another image. So I'm going to do another one of these, because I'm going to say, like, we're going to look to bloom above the 12D sort of stuff, right? But say every time we get like a breakthrough and stuff, then we get clobbered, alright? From my perspective, one of the big allies to that happening is this holographic tech that they've had residuals of us all, and it's real time and alarms and all that sort of stuff of knowing what we're going through and that. So the sophistication of the infrastructure to frack with us has been staggering. And what this person worked out, there was 2 billion of us, even through time, our children and all that, potentially all being monitored in that. And not only that, this infrastructure was being traded between 125 negative species, all, it's like, if a species want a particular code, then they've got the baseball card. It was like, literally, we're being traded by like baseball cards to all these negative species and stuff, and they're all been, Grudy team has all been working together for this, and all the people that I've alluded to in the past and stuff have been working in partnership with it. So this is the level of shit that we've been up against that we have not had any idea or stuff, and it all got destroyed, alright? So that's where I've had this, and all these players, and that's where I've said my instinct is to go after the big organized stuff, which all these players are aligned to and stuff, right? So another thing with this, all the voodoo and attacking and stuff, it's come from all that structure, the holographic tech and that. So they've been using it to get to us and Dreamtime and all that sort of stuff, and our codes and the Ayani massacre. So you imagine all the stats of each of us, just like baseball or basketball cards and stuff. It's all been traded and used to target us, and it's been destroyed, alright? So we'll see what happens, but it was linked up to 125 negative species, plus all the negative players in the community and all that sort of stuff. So this is the edge that they've had over us, right? And so I don't want this to be too long that's going on. lot longer than I wanted, but one of the last things, and I have to go over all this stuff, it's 10 hours, 15 hours of stuff to review. There are other players out there that have been charlatans, that have stolen codes and been drawn, unite the collective sort of stuff to lure people into when the coast hasn't been clear and messing with everyone and harvesting energy and stuff. But this is one of the last things I'll just say is that I did a recording earlier in the year about the no time gaps in the universe and stuff being used to target us and that. And this is going to blow your mind. What it turns out is they've been used as storage locations for capturing souls that have been trying to get through the incarnation war. Alright, so very highly advanced souls that are targets and prizes have been captured and stored in these no-time places in the galaxy. So there was 100,000 no-time places used by one individual out there to store captured souls and use them as energy harvest, code stealing and all that sort of stuff, right? So each of these 100,000 locations didn't have a huge number of souls, so they couldn't be seen, but they were all tracked and destroyed and eliminated, and the souls were all freed. But this one individual, that was their main thing of hacking into the incarnation grid to capture these souls to prevent them getting in. Okay, so beware of people claiming to be here for the children, because they are here for the children, but to not allow the children to get through. All right, just contemplate that, because I've suggested to do the reverse matrix of what people are saying. All right, the contrarian view of things, because just when we got the scale of all this stuff, it's just staggering. And I think there's a lot more that I haven't shared. I've just tried to go in the flow in the post source Reconnect release to make sure it gets out in real time, so you guys have a reference of it, because I think a lot is going to get busted and a lot's going to get shaken out. I hope this is a real recalibration, okay? So I've shared this in the recalibration shows about the new rules and the new energies and stuff. So just keep it simple and focus on you, alright? Because in my opinion, a lot of people that are governed by the negative and greedy network and being influenced and all that, they're going to have a tough time because all this infrastructure isn't in place and they're still potentially being influenced by it, because the sophistication of all this stuff is profound, right? And it's no one's fault. It's like, this is the level of the war we're being in, right? And it's no joke, right? So yeah, I just bit of a random surprise and random day. I've had a bit of hectic time and the weather hasn't been the greatest and stuff. We've had a really beautiful day, but I didn't see much of it because I was up until all hours and in space cadet mode. And yeah, this is a real big win. Whether you take it or not is what I say and all that. I just really thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And if you get something from this, there might be an encrypted download. So I'm just at least putting a face to and a voice to my name and what I've been posting and stuff. And you take it as a will. It's just data for you to process in your algorithm, see what matches up, see how your connection to Earth is right now. And I would just be very discerning of everyone and everything, including me, alright? Because these sort of moves, and I know how massive they are. I have to say it myself. It's like I've been a part of more in this last couple of weeks than, you know, the whole universe has happened sort of shit. And it's not being egotistic or anything. It's like this shit's been waiting to be done for billions of years, and you guys that are veterans of the community, you know how much BS has been put out there and propaganda and all that sort of shit. So see what you get. See what happens with Earth if you're clear and working with her, the true Earth, not a false Earth. Yeah, we'll see what happens, alright? So I thank you for allowing me to be a part of a journey. I hope you got something from this. And we'll see what happens, guys. Best of luck. Andre out. Hey, surprise. I said I'd be at the end as well with this. So thank you for being here, and thank you still being here. And if you've managed to get through this and still be aligned with me with all the shit that's going on, it's been pretty crazy, all right? I'm not going to get into too much, but say when I know big stuff is brewing, I get a lot of resistance. So it's been very interesting in that. So with all that main body that I've offered, that we reconnected Earth Mother to Source on my Tuesday, Wednesday night, and I did that main body recording on that day because it was a really beautiful day. Been up very late again, so we did about another 4 or 5 hour chat. This was with 2 other beings overnight, and what happened is that one of the beings I work with, and I would be transparent with who's involved if it was safe, and it hasn't been safe, guys, alright? So this other being got a bit of a heads up that Earth was ready for more to be done, and it needed to be done quite urgently, and it was related to cleaning out her cosmic womb, alright? So it was big work, and when we finally got together and got in sync and got rolling in this next level GSF stuff, right? And this is really big scale. I was doing Earth Pranic on Earth herself. So if you listen to the part 10 of Earth Pranic Healing, I did it, the metaphor of like her as a body with all the different chakras, and went through them all. And so what has gone on, I've offered information to people around me, some Facebook posts, some videos, some posts on YouTube and stuff like that, just like give the outline of what's gone on. So I've just been finding the right way to get all this information out and stuff, and try and get it out a bit quicker, but also be protected and respect the boundaries and protection of the people that might be vulnerable around me and stuff. So I'm being a bit of a bait for the targeting and all that. So there's been a lot of that, and with this we've worked out where the source of all the targeting or a big metaphor of that, right? And it's been profound, okay? And so the main focus of what this other person got in communication with us is we had to clean out her cosmic womb, and Earth is a magnificent being on such a vast scale. She has the ability to create and birth so much. And long story what we found out, and I was alluding to all the different posts and stuff I've done. One of my allies helped me on August 20th when I got smashed during a session with an ally that's out there that I did the 12D grid with in March 14th. So that was in recalibration to a new energetic reality number 5. In that, another ally out there helped me and put me back together. I had a oversoul disconnect and try to really derail me, and I had some big stuff brewing as well. And we did the August 22nd that I've alluded to, that was explained in the Earth Pranic number 10, alright? But that 20th night, the multi-D self that I have, this ally said that I went and clobbered Saturn. And then on the 22nd we realised though Saturn was beaten up and kicked out sort of thing, a lot of individuals in the reality have had these Saturn rings put around them to limit them. So there's a lot of people in the community that align with the negative aspects, whether they know it or not, have been doing this stuff to limit a lot of people, right? To prevent their connection and ability to get through and access the infinite sort of thing. So Saturn's been a bit of a variable. Saturn sort of law, governance, you know, the square hat sort of thing on people when they graduate and all that sort of stuff. There's many things like courtroom and all that sort of stuff. But what we found out in this planetary level is, you know, that image I've shown you with Earth. I don't have it here, I might show it next to me right now, where Earth has been trapped, right? That's the theme, that we're freeing Earth from the trap in the planet. It hasn't been, it may still be Venus, but the metaphor is Earth herself has been trapped. But it goes even worse, right? So if you guys are familiar with the Ariani massacre, where the women were kept prisoner and raped to breed, sort of stuff like that, what it turns out is that Earth herself as a planet has been massively Ioni'd for a very long time, and Saturn has been like the Anunnaki doing the raping. And what's been created from that is all these very distorted planets, which are half Wiesedak, half Earth codes, and they're being seeded and put all through the multiverse, not even just this universe, but the whole multiverse. And so those planets have been used as staging points for reanimation. And so if we do work to clear up the negative here, then they get reanimated, or they're using those points, those planets, those very diabolical creations out of traumatizing Earth, as staging points or proxy points to attack us and stuff. So you guys around me, like if I've done stuff and that, or stuff has come through, I would invite that's the violation that's been coming through of late, and it's more likely to have been going on for a very long time, building on all the other violative stuff that I've outlined in this main video. And yeah, so we had to clean out Earth's womb, right? So it was massive. And all those planets, what it found out, that the marriage of the masculine and the feminine, there was an effort to put a Wiesedak half onto Earth. So I talked about the Frankenstein half masculine, doing this healing over last weekend, and it's like the Wiesedaks have been put over all these planets and stuff, and then so the planets have been very misguided on an energy level, and all that got cleared up. Then it was found that there's been a lot of prison planets birthed that have never been free, including Pluto. So when we cleared a lot of all this stuff out, the actual beings and stuff, they've actually been taken care of, but the infrastructure's been in place. So a lot of these planets have been like so abused that they don't even know how to be free, right? So we had to set up all these former negative planets birthed by Earth are actually going to be like healing planets and healing space in the universe for recovery of all this big infrastructure. And then what we worked out, I'm going to be very quick with this just to get to what we found out, was all the negative in the community, the very negative, they've actually been using Metatron's codes. Like Metatron had his code stolen as well. He was very reduced. And so we got all them back. So they've been used as a pull by a lot of the negative, highly aware beings in the community to actually do what they've been doing. So they got that shit taken away from them. And yeah, we brought in founders and these founder sort of builder beings to actually come in to upgrade the universe. So they're taking notes of all this stuff and all the flaws and all that, and they're looking to upgrade and renovate the universe, so to speak. And we were giving them all info and stuff like that. So when we work with the dragons and stuff on the 5th and 6th, and we upgrade all the direct dragons, there's been a lot of dragons that have been very brutalized and hijacked and controlled and stuff. And so we created like a healing chamber space for their rehabilitation, to allow them to disarm and recover, a bit like Earth as well, like in the reconnection to Source, because she's been brutalized for so long, holding the line, so to speak. So yeah, then she was really like instilling on us that we needed to get this done ASAP. Alright, so it was really, really epic again. So I just offer this as a reference point, because I know a lot of you guys, like are so vast you don't know what to look at. So I'm using me as a reference point to actually tune in and go and see it for yourself, right? And this is another big thing, all right? And this is what I'll leave you with. You know, the whole Mars is in a coma sort of stuff, right? What I worked out during this week, and it was offered in relation to me that I was the being to reanimate him and all this sort of stuff, right? And I could want to carry that and, you know, everyone to think that. But what I worked out during the week, Mars has never been in a coma. That's just a false narrative bullshit that we all gave our perception authority away in 2015, guys. Do you remember that show with Nat and someone else? And we all believed it, and we all were co-creating the energy to Mars to shut him down. But also we believed it, all right, because we gave our perception authority away, because who would to challenge? We didn't. Why would someone out there publicly tell us that an amazing ally for us is not available? You know why? Because he doesn't want us and that whole team. They don't want and never wanted us to know that we could have Mars as an ally that he is, right? So not only was that the collective, the audience that took on board that, we were probably projecting to Mars, or we were, I know it, to do harm to him, right? So he's been there patiently waiting and stuff. He's never been in a coma, okay? Never. So I talk about doing reverse matrix on what people say, like, just take on board that component and look at all the assumptions were made and taking on board things as, say, gospel and believing them and stuff. I'm just offering that to really reassess and just see how profound and how much we've let through, guys, all right? So that's what I got during the week. I was like, holy crap, right? Mars has never been in a coma. It was offered in the community to create a divide from one of our most cherished and powerful allies out there, all right? So those of you that have the ability to tune into that, go ask him, all right? He will confirm it. He's just never, he's just been patiently waiting for us to get our shit together, right? So I hope this is a lot. I hope you get a lot. I'll look to expand on these things, but I'm hoping that this will be a lot for you guys to even comprehend of how big things are, how amazing we are. Take your codes back, and who knows who you're going to be, guys. Just contemplate that. Like I did on July 23rd, 24th. We have the authority over our codes, like our soul, and that we can take it back, and no one has permission or authority over us, okay? So own your power, guys. We've got awesome potential beyond what this is right now, okay? So enjoy. See you next time. Bye for now.
In December, heading for the city lights. 975, we sharing each other, nearer than farther. Scent of lemon drips from your eyes. We are the people that rule the world. Rejoicing in the world, take me now. We can try.
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.